The dwarf kind of like looks over you and looks past you to see everybody else. He blinks a few times and then he slams it shut, and then the doors open. Inside is a circular room with a table at the far further end, or the other side of this circular room, should I say. There's two doors, one to the left, one to the right, as it goes round. The walls look like they're decorated with there's a couple of like human-sized cages that are strapped up to the ceiling. In one side, there's a fireplace near the left door. There's some barrels, a couple of tables, but the table that's at the further end, is kind of like elevated off the ground, and sat at the table is a dwarven female that is flanked by two stone guard on either side, and she sees you come in, and then she just waves you forward, beckons you across. It's about 30-40 feet.
I will give her a crisp salute.
It's difficult to see her demeanour from where you are. After a few seconds, she just waves you over again. Come!
Cool.
Yeah. I'm up alone.
Walk across.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I think Nook's at the back of the party though.
As you approach, with like a thud, you hear her elbows just kind of like fall onto the table as she rests basically her head in her hands, like just underneath her jaw, as she kind of glances you over. There's this long moment where she's just looking at you over, and then there's this sigh. She stands up and the chair behind her falls over. She walks around the table. She pulls out this warhammer from her side and then just rests the head on the table. Let me start by saying that none of you are worth anything in Glackenstyle. Most of those in my command would sell you off at a heartbeat as the cheapest manual labour. However, I have learned to make much better use of adventurers like yourselves. So, I have a proposition. Fairly to say that this proposition is more of my favour than it is to you. And I'll give you the disillusion that you have a choice in these matters. You can accept that at your own will. But make any attempt to run, leave the city without prior approval, and you will be cut down before you can even get out of the gates. Needless to say that you guys are pretty new to Glackenstyle. And I love it so much. Don't really like to bother my men and women with more difficult matters. So I'll tell you what I require you to do, and I'll allow you to leave.
You're so kind.
Seems like she missed that comment. She
I can feel Crex's butthole clenching.
You're not the only one.
Oh yeah, boys.
There's a moment.
Fucking gold ruby plops out my bum.
There's a moment where you think she heard you, but it's just a pause. I require you to find somebody for me within the city and its attaching pharaohs. You need to find a Darrow called Drotki.
How's that spelled?
Droki.
Thank you.
Needless to say that this Darrow has eluded the Stone Guard for quite a while. He lives in the West Cleft district of the city. And you are going to find him. And it would seem very preposterous for me to demand something from this band of adventurers without telling you what would happen if you didn't succeed in these matters.
You're so kind.
She walks.
Here comes the long drawn out. I'll take your hand. I'll do this to you. Here we go.
She takes the hammer off the table and then kind of like hops a little bit, so she's sat on it and crosses her legs. It may come to your attention that there are guards all over the city. And it also may come to your attention that this also enables information to be quickly moved about the city as well. So, I'll put all my cards on the table because I have nothing to hide. If you do not find Drotki for me and either bring him back alive or dead, maybe his head would probably just suffice. Alive if you can help it. Or you try to flee. One thing's going to happen is that I will notify Ilvara where you guys are currently
Fucking hell.
stood.
Oh, I'm sick to death of that bitch.
Whilst you are here, though, I'll make sure that nobody, especially one of my lieutenants, tells Ilvara where you are. And upon bringing me Drotki, alive or dead, whatever you do to get him here, I think I could probably wait a 10-day before sending a missive and tell her that you were here.
That's quite a bind you have us in.
I'm not so sure, because if Elvira were to find out that you were willing to hide information from her, how would that benefit you?
My reasons are my own. And you're not in a position to ask questions.
Okay. May I ask 2 questions? Firstly, what could Drocky have done that's so bad that you're willing to earn the ire of a drow lady?
Right, okay. Drocky is a suspect in a ongoing conspiracy, excuse me, involving certain groups of people, let's say.
Okay.
And he seems to elude our attention or capture for quite a while now. And to be fair, he'll probably see one of us coming. But adventurers that he's never seen before probably wouldn't.
I mean, this shit is right up Crex's avenue. This is her thing. Secondly, may I have your name?
My name is Captain Eredy Blackskull.
How are you spelling Eredy?
Errde.
Ah, thank you. And Blackskull. Cool. Turn to the group and kind of shrug. I don't think we have much choice, guys.
A good merchant knows when to not extend their hand.
Definitely don't want that bitch on my tail.
No. Are we good?
Let's do it.
Cool. I'll turn back to her, give another salute and say, Captain, tell us what we need to know. Tell us what you know about him so you can work on finding him.
Drocky is a Darrow that wears a peculiar sort of outfit. It's very distinguishable because he's took it upon himself to wear some sort of cowl made from the tentacles of a displacer beast.
I really thought you were going to say like tinfoil because you were talking about conspiracy before. I really thought you were going to say tinfoil. I was so hoping you were going to say tinfoil.
Ryan, are displacer beasts counted as monstrosities?
I would think so. Just hang on a second, just one. Let there be light. Okay. Displacer beasts. Displacer beasts.
I half want to say I do like a full rimmer from Red Dwarfs with the full... But I don't. I just do a normal salute.
A displacer beast is a large monstrosity.
So I would know how dope that is, right?
Yeah.
Oh, does it have any cool properties? A cowl made from the displacer beast. Would I know of that?
Displacer beasts are very hard to hit. It's kind of like if you looked at it, it would slightly look like it's out of sync with time. Like there's two of them slightly overlapping each other, but slightly off, and it kind of flickers between the pair of them. And it has two long tentacles out the back with two like cup paws that have barbs in. Essentially, it looks like a really big black panther with two tentacles coming off of the shoulders.
Kinky.
Okay. Nook is looking very, very excited. I want that. I won't dare.
Is there some way that we can... some non-obvious way we can display to your guards that we are acting under your orders so that they don't should they feel the need to harass outsiders, that kind of thing. If we need to go certain places, that we have access to those places.
Yes, so that brings me to the next thing. She turns around on the table and she picks up like a. It's kind of like the size of a tea cozy. It's kind of like a circular badge, and she throws it at you. You just catch it. It's got an emblem on it, and she says, "That's the sign of the Stone Guard. Show that to the guards on the bridge, and they will allow you to cross to the Southern District."
Thank you, Captain. When we found him and brought him or his head to you, are we free to go?
Yeah. You have freedom to go wherever you please at that point.
Insight check, Ryan.
Beat me to it.
Woo! Natural 7, so 9.
God.
Actually, hold on. It might be better. Actually. I think I have proficiency in insight. I do. So it's actually an 11.
Ooh.
Look at me rolling big.
Living it large, mate.
Damn
Yeah.
straight.
She seems honest.
Yeah, let's do it. She's totally not lying.
We should.
Please roll higher.
I will. Can I also insight check?
Use. Yep. Everybody's
Since
listening,
I'm the one doing the
so
talking.
whoever wants to insight check can do so.
I think I might do so as well.
That's worse. That's 6 plus 8. So 6 plus 2, so 8.
Yeah, she
20,
seems honest.
21.
Hey!
19.
21, 19. Did Genevieve
I'm glad you
insight
guys are
check?
listening to this conversation.
So between the 19 and the 21, you know that she is being completely earnest in what she's saying.
Cool.
God damn.
You see, there's a moment where she's about to say something, and out of the door to your guy's left and her right, the door opens abruptly, and there's like a stone guard there. He's dressed a little bit differently. He's got like a lighter sort of armor on, and he has this like one side of his hair shaved, and the rest of it's kind of like draped down to one side. He looks at Erdy, the commander, and then she like scowls at him, and he like quickly shuffles his way over, and then steps up onto the raised platform and goes to and says something in her ear, and she goes, right. Also, it seems like I'm not the only one that was intrigued to meet the band of adventurers that took down the raging stone giant in the market. Upon your visit to the Southern District, you may notice that there are some Durgar walking around wearing robes and such like. They are let's call them a sect of Durgar, called the Keepers of the Flame.
That sounds ominous.
I only mention this because Hey, look, it's completely optional. You do your job for me, and everything's good. Whatever you do outside of that is your own business, as long as it doesn't cause me any problems. So, Themberchod.
What? Hold on.
Did you just have a stroke?
It looked like Nathan had a stroke.
Hey, listen, mate. I've seen a few chods in my time, but not a Themberchod.
A Themberchod. Themberchod wishes to meet you for some strange reason. So yeah, so you do that. Don't really fucking care, to be fair. In fact,
Is he one of these keepers at Firepoke?
Oh no.
Then who is he then?
I think I will let you find that out for yourself.
Is he going to stab us?
Nah.
Okay.
Makes a change.
Oi.
Alright, I'm getting bored. Leave.
And we leave.
Yeah, she waves you off, and 2 guards open the door that you came through.
Okay. Well, we're not dead, which is a good start.
Yeah.
Very good start.
So
I really want to meet this Themberchod. He's got a bit of an interesting name.
We have to meet with the stone giants as well.
Yeah, Nook kind of looks at Craxton like, maybe not here to talk about that.
You raise a good point. Ixnay on the giant say.
But, you know, let's keep it on the down low.
Let's head. Would we know where to find? I'm assuming the stone giants told us where to go.
Yeah, it was Ken. Hold on.
Oh, that was it. They stole the Scottish Mountain, didn't they?
Ken Gone Cavern.
Cool.
It's in the you can see it in the chat. It's where Lee drew a penis.
Helpful as always.
You're not
It
wrong.
does look like a penis, to be perfectly
You're not
honest.
wrong. Since we have a prior appointment with them, shall we visit there first? Anyone got any input? Because Kelly feels like she's running the session.
Well, hold on. So, is there anything on this side of the river that we need to do first? Like, is
We're going to find that Darrow.
yeah? So, is Droki on this side? I know you said that he was in a region of the West Cliff district. You said correct,
I did.
So, is that on our current side of the?
So the west and the east cleft district of the city is actually in the Ferro. So you would have to find your way to traverse down into.
What's the Ferro?
So in the middle of the city, the Ferro is what the bridges cross over.
Oh, so it's like an undercity
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So the west cleft.
So this is like the dark, seedy sort of favela of
It's
Brackenstone.
from your time in here. It's referred to as slums.
Okay.
You generally get with the Gracken lung disease on the surface because of the industry. You whenever you speak to anybody about what it's like in the east and the west districts, it's generally referred to as worse than it is up here because of how.
So the smog is worse down there.
It's just that it's overcrowded. It's there's a lot of disease and pestilence down there. It tends to be with a lot of the Darrow are. You don't see a lot of Darrow up here unless they are servants Or
And just for my clarification, because I'm not too familiar, what exactly is a Darrow?
A Darrow kind of looks like a you know what a wishing troll looks like?
No fucking clue, mate.
Right. I will bring
Wishing
up
troll.
a image of a Darrow.
Oh, what the fuck, dude? Those look gross as shit. Got wishing trolls all through my eyes.
So this is what a Darrow looks like if you are looking at the stream. It will appear there at some point.
Oh,
If not,
shit.
I will cut and
Google.
paste it to the chat.
Miguel.
So yeah.
Oh,
So-
those look dope.
So they're very
I
small.
typed in wishing trolls, and all I got was like actual little troll dolls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of like what they are, like the small
Okay, cool.
wishing dolls, except for they're like blue, purpley skinned. They tend to be very thin and gangly.
Bless you.
Thank you.
They kind of look like Durgar, but they're kind of like the gnome equivalent to Durgar. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Cool.
cool. Okay. So there's no point in doing that just yet because it's way deep down. Nook will say, let's go meet the giants then, I suppose.
To the giants. Sorry, there's a helicopter landing nearby. It's air ambulance. I live near a giant field, which they use quite a lot for the air ambulance.
Right.
Sorry, distracted. D&D.
You,
To the giants, I get the thing out of my pack, the token.
You make your way to one of the bridges, and you see a couple of guards keeping watch. No, it looks like there's a couple of guards on every one of these bridges, and as you approach, both of them hold their innermost hand out to stop you as a sign of halt. You flip out your stone guard insignia. There's a few moments where they look it over and pass it back, and then they step aside.
Thank you.
And you make your way to the southern part of the city.
To Penis Cavern. I mean, Cairngorm Cavern.
I was like, did you say penis?
Kelly said that,
Penisville.
not Crex.
All right, correct.
Because I don't know Crex doesn't know what the city looks like top down.
That is very true.
She doesn't know she's about to walk into a giant penis.
Jeez.
Okay, so as you go across the city to the southern part of the district, you notice that the architecture changes. It still looks very similar to the northern part district of the sea, except for it tends to be a lot more. The upkeep on this part of the city tends to be a lot better than it does on the north. Put it that
So
way.
the posh side.
Oh yeah. You get a feeling immediately that even though there doesn't seem to be a hell of a lot of people around, you feel like you're being watched.
Of course we are.
Okay.
And you feel out of place as well, like the kind of feeling when you walk into an upper class sort of fucking restaurant and you're wearing fucking Kappa jogging bottoms and the fucking shell suit or something. You walk around. You walk around a little bit because you've got a vague idea of where Cairngorm Cavern is, but you don't know exactly where. You ask a couple of people, a couple of Durgar, and they point you in the right direction. They lead you. They tell you to go to the western side of this part of the city, and you see a huge cavern opening, at least about 60 feet in height.
Sure for now.
There doesn't seem to be there's no door that separates the cavern from the city. It's just kind of like the building's end, and there's the side of the rock face, but there's this huge cavern that's naturally formed over time. There's no architecture to it, and as you enter, it's kind of you can hear like you have this. It's got like this monastery sort of feeling to it. You can hear this deep hum, like monks that are in meditation. And as you walk further in, it starts to get louder and louder. And occasionally you can hear like chimes and gongs being hit. And the sides of the cavern, as you're walking down towards the end of it, have these. It looks like a lantern that's been jabbed into the wall that hangs about a foot off of it. There's this constant light just emanating around inside. It tends to like dim slightly every now and again, but you've got like this. It looks like a small golf ball or something the size of a golf ball, like dinging around inside the lantern.
Is it a drift? No, I wouldn't know. Never mind.
It's about 15 feet overhead, but it provides like a certain atmospheric sort of feeling to the cavern. It seems very. It's kind of like having a dimmer switch on half. That kind of bright.
In my days spent here before the party arrived, right, would I have heard anything about this place?
Yeah, you know that there are some stone giants that live in this side of the city. They're known to be pacifists, and they tend to give some sort of guidance to the Deep King whenever he asks for it.
Right. So are they like scholars here? Or monks or something like that?
Yeah, kind of scholars. By no means are they any less stronger than any other stone giant that would wish to tear you in half. But for whatever reason, they've decided to be pacifists.
Does anyone notice our presence?
You, as you enter, as you get to the end, and it kind of splits off into like three directions, but it's quite large. You can see that there are a number of stone giants in there, and there's one that looks familiar. He's the one that you met yesterday, if you can remember.
Is it Rehud or Dorhan? One of the two.
Dorhan.
Oh, yeah, Dorhan, and then Hogram is the leader of these guys.
Yeah, the stone speaker.
Hagram.
Rehud is the guy
the dead one.
Into a two-headed giant.
So Dorhan has like a double take, and he's kind of like he's knelt down on both his knees with his like arse onto his feet. And he was joining in the monastery sort of chant that they were doing.
So So Knuckle like wave with both arms, trying to be as big as possible, saying in giant, "Dorman, we're here!"
He takes a double take, and then he puts his finger on his lips to like indicate for you to be quiet. And then there's a part where he puts one foot up, and then he goes to stand, and you can hear like this odd. Even though you're like 25 feet away, even from this distance, you can hear crack as bones start to like pop as he stands up. Like he's probably been sat there for quite a while.
Oh, fucking sick.
And then he kind of like, he lumbers over. And he comes down. And he's with his hands behind his back. He kneels down again onto one knee. And he says, "Greetings, friends. I see that you have taken my invitation to speak with Hargrim."
Yeah, Nook takes the initiative and he like pushes past people and he says, "Sorry about that, shooting bit. I just get really excited when I meet giants." and he then sort of like, "Yes, indeed."
It's like no bother. When he speaks, you can hear this this like low rumble when he speaks, and it's that deep that it kind of makes your back teeth rattle a little bit. He's not shouting by no means. It's just the bass on his voice is so low that it's making things rattle. He says, "Join me and I will introduce you to Hargrim." And he stands, he turns around. You can see that he's wearing a similar robe to what he was yesterday. As you follow in, you can't really see much past him because his stature is, and with the robe is quite wide. But you follow him round. The architecture is there's nothing man-made. It's all natural. This whole cave. There's these lanterns that are scattered around to give light. And then you see the odd giant-sized table that none of you can see what's on top because it's so big. And there's a few bedrolls that are on the floor. There's no elevated beds. It looks like that they sleep on the ground. There looks like, for the size of it, it looks like a bird bath, but it's 5 or 6 times as big, kind of like a giant's wash basin or sink.
Does it look like an altar or anything like that?
From the size of it where you guys are, it looks like a pillar that would hold up part of a building, but it flares up at the top, and you can hear water trickling. So it's probably a giant sink. You're not overly sure. What does catch your attention is that Durham only has 3 fingers on one hand.
Has that changed since yesterday?
You didn't notice yesterday. You're not sure if it makes you're not sure if it makes any sort of like significance. You're just like, oh, he's missing a finger. How odd.
Pinky.
You kind of like go around the left a little bit, and it kind of like leads you on, and he steps aside, and he waves his right arm out and arches it out, and points over to a stone giant that is roughly about 25 feet in front of you, who's sat down, cross-legged, with his hands in his lap, and he has this long sort of braided, matted beard that just trails down and then wraps in his lap over and over. I mean, his beard is long. He's completely bald, but he has the hood on his robe seems to have some like ornaments on it. It's got like a pattern. They look like it kind of looks like patchwork, but they seem to be like it kind of like shimmers in the light. So you may think that it's metallic sheets that have been stitched together. So kind of like like glittery sort of metallic sheets. Seems a bit weird, but hey, the giants. He stands. He slowly stands, and you can see that his beard does trail down to the ground, and there's clearly another 15 feet or so, and he picks it up and then puts it over his shoulder, and then
fucking that's so cool.
Then kind of makes some. It looks like really thick rope jewelry or prayer beads out of his own beard.
This makes Ignatia self-conscious, and she's just touching her face now.
You're jealous.
Beard envy.
I'd like to ask a question to avoid metagaming here.
Uh-huh.
I think I know what the name of the Stone Giants' god is, or one of their gods. Would Crex know it?
Crex can give me a history check with disadvantage.
That's fair. Of course, that's 17 for 19 for the first roll. And natural 1 on the second one, so no. No, I do not.
No,
You don't even know what religion is.
I'm a cleric of something. I don't know what clerics do.
Yeah, you're not.
No, that's fair.
You might do, but hey, for this moment in time, nah, it doesn't come to mind.
I'm going to err on the side of caution. Kneel in front of him and say, "Blessings be upon your gods." In common, because that's one of the languages I speak.
He bows. He closes his eyes and bows. And as he raises himself back up, he says, "Blessings to yours."
Nook's gonna whisper in Crex's ear, "Scoraceous stone bones. That's the one you want to do."
But I just kind of like get.
Yeah, and then in giant, Nook bows deeply and says, taking off his little straw hat and placing it on his chest, and saying, "Scoraceous stone bones blessing on you."
Blessings on you too as well, gnome.
All right, mate. I'm just glad that he knows that I'm a gnome. Nook's so happy right now. I love giants. They're so cool.
It's Nook like fangirling right now.
Yes. Nook is like, he's like, you can see his like hands fidgeting and his little feet tapping together. He's really happy.
He looks at Durham and nods, and Durham walks off.
Okay.
Bye, Durham.
We'd like to apologise for having to take the life of one of your own yesterday. Unfortunately, I think he was infected by some madness, some curse that seems to be following everyone around in the Underdark.
Yes, it was very upsetting to learn what happened to one of our own. However, what's done is done, and I hold no ill will for what you did.
Thank you. If there had been another way, obviously we'd had time, but sadly it was not just his life in danger.
Exactly.
If I may, have you heard any news from the village of Sleeperdoop?
No, I know of this place. However, we don't leave the city.
We have recently travelled past that place, and we witnessed some truly giant monstrosity attacking the village. It was summoned by one of their high priestesses using
Look, all of a sudden
blood magic.
very, very serious, and the fidgeting stops.
We lost one of our own to this monster. I can describe what it looks like, but I do not know what it is. It's a large two-headed being with tentacles. Bigger, far bigger than you.
Would I know anything of this? Right. When she says a large two-headed tentacled monstrosity.
No.
Okay.
I fear that something similar may have infected Rehud and caused him to grow this extra head and to go berserk and out of control.
It is quite apparent that something evil stirs in the Underdark.
Something evil does stir, and it is only the forces of good standing together that can defeat evil.
This is also true, but we find our paths are not entwined.
I'm going to insight check him.
Yep.
Nope. Never mind.
What did you
That
get?
dice isn't being used again today. Another natural one.
Oh shit. Yeah. You don't get any sort of reading from him.
Yeah. I'll just nod and say, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your honesty.
He reaches out and rubs his hand across the wall, and it's kind of like the sound it makes is kind of like listening to a very heavy stone being dragged across another one, or kind of like the sound that snakeskin makes when it goes over bamboo.
Yeah.
It's kind of got this like knocking sound as his skin like goes across the stone. And he says, "The rock itself cries in pain and horror. Madness seeps the darkest depths. Pay heed to the signs surrounding you. A cave with two faces, rock devoured, and a land overgrown. The pebble beneath itself flesh. The earth rejects its wards, and the tunnels shake in fury. By these portents you shall know of evil's presence, and of evil's face. This is what the stone tells me, and it's kind of like a jolt. He sways back like he's snapped out of some sort of trance. He looks tired and frustrated, kind of like somebody that's kind of reached the end of his tether, but for some reason is still carrying on.
We have, in our travels, we have been in tunnels whilst they have shaken. Is this a sign that great evils are near? Or is it just natural?
I believe that it is. And I also believe what you encountered is not all that is down here.
Thank you. You okay there?
I'm going to start
made a
digging
noise then.
upward. I'm going to start digging upward, and I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
This-
I'm going to start thinking downward.
Maybe there's an
Dig up, you fool!
I dig about 6 feet into the ground and just lay there.
He looks at each of you, and he says, "I wish I could help more, but due to
Fool.
certain events, we stone giants, as you call us, find ourselves lost in some bickering and in fighting that has lasted eons before small folk came to this realm. I cannot aid you going forward apart from giving you the warning or the little information that I can give.
What little you can give aids us.
It's not very often you find friends down here.
This is true. And this is why I'm going to give you a parting gift.
Yes, please. Please.
As a as a more or less a little bit before that bit of the conversation goes to fruition, you start to hear thudding from behind as Dorhan approaches from behind. He's carrying something in his hand that has like a red velvet sort of cover or sheet over.
Okay.
And he comes forward and he puts this object into Hargrim's hands, and he says something in Dwarvish. Somebody want to give, whoever speaks Dwarvish that wants to listen in needs to give me a perception check.
Not using the giant dice.
That is
Natural 20.
nice. Let me just pull up my sheet real
What am I-
quick. It's a
Natural
perception.
1
check.
to a natural 20.
So that is a
20.
11 for me.
So that was
20,
11,
not natural.
20, 11, what was the other one?
A natural 20.
Right, okay.
Correct.
No,
So-
not natural.
No, correct. Cal got a natural 20.
So natural 20, a 20, and an 11. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
So the two people that got 20s
High five.
hear him say, he says...
I didn't get the 20, but I want to be included.
He says, may the stone protect, and may this item, may this item help these individuals in their time of need. He sits down, falls. He goes onto his knees, sits back, and leans forward and holds this item out to whoever is at the front and wants to accept this item.
It's going to be me or Nook. I'll grab it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll let Crex grab it. I'm not going to contest that.
You hold your hands out and you I wouldn't say awkward. It's a bit odd. There's a point where your hands kind of like touch the underside of his, and it's kind of like touching smoothed over marble.
Okay.
Nice as he as he moves his
Your
hands out.
Are so smooth. I don't say that. I don't say that.
He moisturizes regularly. He removes his hands, and the object in your hand feels really cold as he pulls the cloth or the sheet over, and it is a 19-inch long shard of quartz that has it has a white sort of glow that just kind of pulses in the center of the quartz.
Thank you for your generous gift. How do I say this best? How would one utilize the power within? If one needs to.
Anybody that has the ability to cast spells can use this item to acquire information.
Okay. Thank you very much. Information, I think, will be one of the things that helps the forces of good in this.
Okay.
We don't really know what we're up against. And it feels like we're just reacting. And that's not how wars are won. So thank you very much for your generous gift.
It is fine. This item... this item would be more use for you than it would be sat here gathering dust.
Okay then.
So I'm going to take a quick 5-minute bathroom break.
Thank fucking Christ. Jesus. That pissed me, son, mate.
And then
Jesus.
we will continue within 5 minutes. Okay.
Oh, I want to play with that 19-inch shard.
I bet you do.
No, it's not going anywhere near your arsehole.
It's going near the bomb.
Right, back in 5 minutes.
So, Naomi, to summarise, bad shit, dig up.
Okay.
And keep digging up until we see sunlight.
Sounds
Yes,
good
let's
to
dig up the
me.
bad shit.
And Crex definitely hasn't just taken it on herself to fight these all herself.
Oh, good. Good.
It's kind of how I roll.
Yeah.
Lawful good and all. Not lawful good, chaotic good. Do whatever I want. I'm gonna die so hard.